Hello, I hope that you're having a good time today. My apologies for not being with you, which is quite relevant to today because I should be with you talking about mindfulness. And yesterday, or it was Sunday, I managed to mindlessly, without doing sufficient warm up, to rupture one of the muscles in my calf. And it's the issue of mindfulness and mindlessness, which perhaps we're talking about today. My name is Sean Orford. I'm a psychologist by trade. I spent half my life in the NHS working as a consultant, and the rest of the time I work in industry, mainly American corporations. And I'm interested in mindfulness in terms of being able to encourage people to regulate their own levels of depression and anxiety, but also to increase their efficiency, both as people individually, but also within the workplace. Much of the work that I do with the American corporations is because they realize the value of having people who are mindful working with them and for them, which increases productivity, efficiency, and therefore profit. So there's a lot of gain in that. So you'll hear the word mindfulness spoken a lot at the moment. It gets a bit crazy because it's become a bit meaningless. We have kind of mindfulness knitting and mindfulness cooking. What does mindfulness mean? To be mindful simply means to remember. There are two root words that it comes from. One is smrti, which is Sanskrit, and the other one is sati, which is Pali, which are ancient Eastern languages, and it referred to states of remembering. So the word sati just means to remember. What are you remembering? Well, what we're remembering is to be in the moment, to be in the present. I do a bit of work in the Middle East and in Qatar particularly, where there's a massive amount of building going on. There's a huge level of accident, health and safety issues. So mindfulness has become big business in the Middle East because of the amount of people that are getting damaged. If you are on the top of a 200-foot tower on a steel girder, you need to be in the moment. You need to be where you are, because if you're not, you fall off. It's quite simple. So that in terms of health and safety, mindfulness is now big business. So, okay, just quickly, mindfulness means to be in the moment. As I'm talking to you now, your mind will begin to wander. We reckon in psychology you can hold your attention for about 7 seconds before it will begin to wander off. If you're actually in the moment, you're actually with me. If your mind wanders to unresolved past issues that you keep reliving in the present, that's the seeds of depression. If on the other side, your mind keeps running forward and you keep living instances that may never happen, that's called anxiety. If you do both together, you become an anxious depressive. Now, as soon as people begin to do that, they cease to be in the moment. They cease to be where they are. Now, from your point of view, as a business person, the issue of being able to be in the moment, or your workers being in the moment, will increase their efficiency and therefore your profit. And if you look at it from a service point of view, people that are mindfully in the moment, that aren't suffering depression or the stress of anxiety, are people who take less time off work, less sick leave. They're more likely to be engaged and contented in the workplace as they are. So you're not going to train people that they're going to go off somewhere else. But overall, people who are mindful work together better with others. People who are mindful tend to be more cooperative and therefore more efficient. One of the things that is always true is that if you are stressed and anxious, you become less efficient. The more stressed you become, the more pressure you put on yourself. So that in the end, your efficiency level dips right down. Profit, right down. Yep. Okay, let me just tell you one story. When I was a kid, I had a Honda 50 motorbike. Lovely, lovely thing, bright red and white, quite embarrassing, I guess. But it would do 54 miles an hour, which was pretty good for me as a teenager. And it taught me this amazing lesson. And if you don't get anything else out of me talking today, just get this. Is that I began to learn that whenever I got on this motorbike, I drove it flat out. I was a teenager, so I just wind it up and off I'd go. I started to realise if I was early for somewhere, I would drive it going do 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 do, and I'd get to the other end feeling really happy and feeling good. And I was relaxed and calm. But if I was late for somewhere, I'd drive it flat out going, trying to make it go faster. And I began to realise over time that it didn't matter how tense I became, it never went any faster, it never went flat out. I would arrive at the other end stiff, anxious, aggravated, unable to participate. So I began to realise that if I just drove it flat out, I would just get as far as I could. And I arrive relaxed and calm. Now in the workplace, what that means is people come in at coming in time and they go home at going home time. And during that period of time, which is finite, they can do a finite amount of work. The difference is they either do it in a relaxed and calm way, which means they will be efficient and they will get a lot done, or they can do it in an upset, anxious and tense way, which means they will get less done and be less efficient. So mindfulness from the point of view of business is big business. It makes money. So what does it actually mean? Well, mindfulness in terms of being in the moment means that you as an owner or a manager need to be in your moment. You need to be in your moment with your staff. And one of the biggest questions I'm always asking managers when we're doing training sessions is, do you know your staff? Do you know your staff? Do you know where they live? Do you know who they live with? Do you know how many kids they've got? Do you know whether their kids are ill? Do you know whether they've got kids that have deficits? Maybe they've got Asperger's? You know, there could be all kinds of problems that are affecting their lives. And unless we as managers take time out to get to know our staff in a real way, not in terms of what qualifications they've got, what hours do they work and how much they get out of them, but about who they are. And when you get a manager who works well with the staff, then the amount of times the staff love to come in is absolutely huge. You get a manager who doesn't work well with their staff, what happens in the morning? Okay, it's Monday morning. I spent half my life in Arrow Park Hospital. Okay. Imagine the staff in Arrow Park Hospital. It's Monday morning and the alarm goes off and they come into consciousness. What do you think's the first thing in their mind? Do you think they think, woohoo, it's another day in paradise as they leap from their beds and rush off to work? Most of them wake up and go, oh no, not again. And they have to then drag themselves out of bed. Now they drag themselves into work and the collusion begins. They get together with their colleagues and someone says, really don't like it here. And then someone says, do you remember when? And then we all get nostalgic about how good it was in the past. And then someone says the magic, don't worry, won't be long, it'll be Friday. So I say, that means you've only got Saturday and Sunday then. And then they look at me and they go, if I'm honest, Sunday's a bit dodgy because I'm winding up for Monday. So are we saying that we only have Friday night and Saturday? What on earth are we doing? Now, the issue of mindfulness and being in the moment, you can't be happy in the past, you can't be happy in the future, you're going to be happy in the moment now. The most powerful phrase in modern neuropsychology is this: thoughts become things. The things we think about, we bring about. If we wake up in the morning and we think, oh no, I don't want to go into work, what kind of day are we going to have? We've already written the script for the day. If we wake up in the morning thinking, oh yeah, can't wait to get in there, what kind of day are we going to have? Now, this is true for all of us. Before you started listening to this, you'd already decided what you're going to get out of it. You either thought, oh, it's going to be one of those presentations. Oh, he's not here. You know, you could have come up with all kinds of things. Or you could have thought, oh, wow, at least he's made a video. And that's going to describe what you get out of this right now. Thoughts become things. So, when you leave today, at the end of today, you will be writing the script for where you go next. Thoughts become things. You will decide, wherever you're going, whether you're going home, whether you're going back to your office, you will already have decided the kind of experience that you're going to have, because we all do it instinctively. But the thing that we have in mindfulness is the option to make a decision. And the decision is, if you don't like the story that you're writing, thoughts become things, then change the story. And that's what mindfulness training is about. So powerful when we're doing groups with managers or we're doing groups with staff. How can we get the best out of ourselves, the best out of each other, the best out of the day? One of the magic things about having a staff force that is engaged and mindful is they take very little managing. If you've got mindful staff, they manage themselves. Management becomes a breeze and productivity goes way up. It's really good. So there are lots of practical issues that you can do. One of the things that I don't like about people like me coming to things like this is it can very often be what I call hit and run. Now, you will have my details from this, that Sue and Ali will give you the details so that you can get hold of me. If you want to talk about stuff, you want to talk about mindfulness, how you can use mindfulness in your situation to make it different, then just give me a call, drop me an email, whatever. The issue for us all is we can change the way that we are, we can change the way our systems work if we want to, but we have to be engaged in that. And that's the mindful bit. Now you can probably guess that I can talk forever, so I'm going to let you go. I understand from what Ali and Sue said to me that you have the option to come back in June, by which time I will mindfully have repaired my leg and I will be able to function in a more active way. And like I say, you can talk to me in between times if you'd like to. If you want to come back in June, love to see you face to face and we can take it from there. So look, I will leave you now. If you need anything, shout. But whatever you do for the rest of today, just remember thoughts become things. If you're mindfully engaged where you are, then you'll enjoy the day. If you're worrying about what was, you're not going to be there. And if you're worrying about what will be, you're just going to be anxious. If you're in the moment and you're with Sue and Ali, you will get the best that you can out of the day. So you take care and I hope to see you in June. Thank you. Bye now.